Here we are.
Hello, and welcome.
Wait a minute.
Okay. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, all that fun stuff. We are now, 5 days till Christmas, and hopefully everybody has their stuff together.
We do.
We kind of do.
We kind of do.
There's one more thing we need to get, but I need ideas from you. So we'll talk about that later.
We will talk about that at the bar.
So this is our last live stream until 2025, and
it's crazy to think.
Yeah, it is really crazy to think. We'll have to come up with some good stuff for 2025. Let us know if you have any ideas. But let's have you talk about tonight's painting. I'm Jenny.
I'm Paul. and we are
Palette Knives Out. We're going to zoom in now. Get your painting down. There we go.
All right, so here's our painting that we're doing tonight. I don't remember, what did we call this one?
Winter Shadows.
Winter Shadows.
Because you have those nice long shadows.
I thought it was too dark, but then I look over.
I have never seen you do that before, where they're all long and stretched out. And
yeah, that was kind of a fun inspiration. I had fun making this painting, so the whole purpose of this one is to really play on the low light point, like the low light source, and the way that casts long shadows this time of year. Actually, maybe not everywhere, but it does here in Oregon, where the sun's pretty low in the sky for us. We are actually really close to the 45th parallel. It's literally just like half an hour south of us. So we're like kind of right at the middle between the equator and the North Pole. It's in Salem.
Oh, funny.
Yeah. So anyway, it cuts through Salem.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so we get these great like low shadows all year long because the sun's pretty low in the horizon all day. So I was like, yeah, let's do that. That'll be fun. That'll be cool. And so we added some color. We do have clouds. I can't do a painting without clouds, but they're really try to keep them as simple as possible. And it's really just something to break up the sky and add some balance to this warmth down here. And so all that said, we can go ahead and get started.
I mistakenly listed black as one of the colors and found out tonight he doesn't use any black.
I mean, you can use black if you want to, but it's not 100% necessary. But let's talk about the colors we're using. And again, like any of our paintings, if you guys have different colors, it's fine. As long as you've got blue, or you've got something close, it's totally cool. So we got phthalo blue, bright red. We call this craft yellow. Mm-hmm. It's craft yellow. It's what's the brand on it? American.
No, it's not Americana. It's through Michaels. It's Michaels.
Yeah, it's Michaels. It's a craft paint, but it works really good for what it does. We got yellow ochre, and we have what's this color again? It's white. And just to give you an idea, like when I say any color will work, you can use cobalt. Cobalt blue would work fine in this painting.
Would ultramarine?
Ultramarine would be,
more purplish.
Yeah, well, it kind of depends on the brand, because I've noticed that some ultramarines are more vibrant and some are more purple. But the one that we used to use through Blick was definitely more of a purple. But you can do whatever you want. That's what painting's all about, right? All right, so we're gonna start off with our biggest brush, and what we're gonna do first is, let me bring this in. We are going to work on this color here. We're going to start at the bottom of the painting, which normally I start in the sky. Mm-hmm. We're going to do it the opposite way today. We're going to start at the bottom and work our way up, because we're basically going to cover the whole canvas. We're going to fade from this peach color up into the more yellow and then up into the more blue. So what we're going to start off with is we're going to start off with a little yellow ochre, a little bit of red, maybe a little more yellow ochre, and we're going to add some white to it. And I actually think this painting can look a little bit, you could go a little bit more on the coral side. Like I would lean more coral than ochre. So more on the pinkish side would be fine. And it's just, I'm going to get a little bit more yellow ochre. There we go. That works. And I'm just going to start right across the bottom.
Yours is really pink tonight.
It is. It could be a little bit lighter, so I'm just going to mix in a little bit of white. And it actually doesn't really matter if it's a little darker down at the bottom. It is a little bit, maybe a little too pink. I'm just going to mix in a little bit of yellow ochre on the canvas. It's like silly putty right now. And I'm just going to use, if you guys have got it where it's like, oh, it feels a little too dark, just go ahead and mix some white in on the canvas. Just grab some white on your brush and use that to carry the color up. That's a good way to stretch your paint. And we're just going to go up about, I'm going to go up about, let's call it, canvas is 11 by 14, so we're going to go up about 4 inches.
That means I have to mix more paint.
You did not mix enough paint. That's amazing.
I know. This is why I always overmix, because I hate running out.
Yeah. And I'm just going to add a little bit more white. And we get up to this point, about 4 inches. Boy, I got a wobbly canvas today.
Yeah, you do. Do you want to want me to find something to put under it?
Nah, it's all right.
Okay.
It is what it is. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of our craft yellow to this mix. I'm just adding it on the edge here. I'm going to add a little bit more white too. I just kind of want to get this to kind of start to have this like more bright, because we're going to transition into it mostly being that bright yellow, and we'll have a little bit of a chance to kind of touch it up. So as I work my way up, I'm going to move up a little bit above where I'm painting. And I can feel my brush is starting to dry out, so I'm going to give it a quick rinse. Just blot it dry. And now I'm just going to do a little bit of just pure bright yellow, just a smidge above where I stopped. And I'm going to take some white now. Blend it in. Blend it in, blend it in. I don't know, that was like a melody from some like old commercial, but I don't remember what it was.
I recognize it too. Now you're gonna drive me nuts.
I feel like it's like an old coffee commercial or something.
Might be.
Now what I'm gonna do as I get up here is I'm just gonna kind of let this be a little bit choppy. Just gradually break it up a little bit.
Are you using white and yellow mixed together?
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to be pure yellow. Actually, I'm gonna be a little bit fuller with this first. You don't want to be just pure yellow on this. We don't want it to be that bright.
Are you yellow?
Yeah, yellow.
You're pure yellow.
I'm just gonna come back through. I've got a little bit, maybe a little bit too light in here, but that's okay. I'm not too worried about it. All of this can kind of just like, you can brush the heck out of it and let it all kind of blend together at this point. I'm happy with that. Tonight's painting brought to you by Kahlua, not a sponsor.
Kahlua with lattes.
Kahlua and Starbucks. Not something you can get at Starbucks here. I don't know, maybe you can somewhere else.
Probably in like France or some other country.
I mean, you don't even, yeah, maybe another state. Oregon's got really weird laws about
Really
that kind of
strict.
stuff. Yeah. So really, I just want to get this nice little transition. And what we want to do next is I'm going to go ahead and rinse my brush off pretty good. How are you, Marlene? You always say good evening, and I always want to go, good evening. Good evening.
How's the weather in your area, Marlene? Though you're probably busy painting. Awesome. Nice challenge.
It is.
We taught a live class last night.
We did
I
indeed.
did, and it was a snowman. It was fun.
My
A small group, 6 people, so it was, and 4 of them were together, so it was like they had their own private party, and they were such awesome people. I loved it. I wish I could have, like, all of our live classes have groups like last night. They were just super fun, and we did a lot of laughing, and we listened to Cher.
We did listen to Cher's got a new Christmas album out,
I
you
guess
guys.
it came out in 2023.
Okay.
October.
Well, that was last year. So it's fairly new. It was good. I enjoyed it. All right, so we're going to start our sky color, and I am going to kind of bring it down at a little bit of an angle. And one of the things, and you guys know this, I'm not a big fan of, usually not a big fan of using any color, just pure. So I'm going to take a little bit of our phthalo blue. I'm going to add just a tiny dab of red. So it's like, it's not purple, it's just not pure blue. That blue is chunky.
It is. It's a brand new bottle from Blick, but maybe it needs to be shaken.
No, it's like chunky.
Huh. That's not good.
Yeah.
Maybe it froze.
High in the 20s, my goodness.
Really good cold weekend. Oh, wow. That is quite cold. I don't know what our temp have been hovering around.
We've
50.
been like mid-50s.
A lot of rain, and it always tends to come right at our dog walking hour.
Yeah. All right, so I've just kind of got this color. It's a little lighter than the original, but that's okay. And I'm really going to just kind of start across the top. And I'm going to give you guys a trade secret here. I mean, that's kind of what we're here to do anyway. I'm going to rinse my brush. Rinse it good. Rinse it real good. There we go. And I'm going to use now my white. To help pull this color down. Now I'm keeping an eye on this original and remembering too that it's the clouds that give us that diagonal. So don't worry about that so much right now. The one thing that we're really looking to avoid at this point is this turning green.
I've seen times when the sky is a little green.
Yep, it's not completely out of place. A little green's fine. Oh my goodness, it's Mountain Dew is not so good. But what you can do now is if you use a little bit of white, kind of get yourself down close to that transition. You see? And you can kind of just start breaking it, letting it kind of break in and break up a bit.
So it's like we're doing like what we did with the yellow, but downwards.
Yeah, I'm going to use a little bit more white to just soften it up a little bit more. We can come back and play with this a little bit more. Well, we might. Maybe not.
Play with it now, people.
Yeah, this is the time to do it.
This is the time to get it done.
Yeah, but this is part of the reason why we do the clouds cutting across, is to make this transition distract the eye from any of the uncomfortableness that you might end up with.
Like the green and the green that might happen, and some of these colors coming together.
Yeah, exactly. Boy, the paint's acting weird. Interesting.
Really? Like, what are you noticing?
It's like acting like my brush is really wet, but it's not. It's not. Good rinse. Okay, so the song that the melody, I don't know what the product is. It was rub it in, rub it in. What was that?
Ben Gay? I don't know.
No, I don't think so. Maybe it was like just for men hair color or something.
So you need Daniel, he'll know.
Where's
Or was
Dan?
it plug it in, plug it in?
Oh, maybe it's plug it in, plug it in.
What are you thinking about?
I don't know. I mean, I've been having back problems, so maybe it was thinking about.
Ben Gay.
No, it's biofreeze now. It's better.
That's right, Biofreeze. Or there's the doTERRA one called it's something blue. Deep blue? I think it's deep blue.
So I'm just trying to very carefully soften this edge. And it's such a hard, difficult edge to soften. Sometimes it's better to kind of leave it be and come back and pull the yellow up into the blue. So I'm going to let that dry for a few minutes. And what we're going to do next, though, is I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to come back and I'm going to bring in a little shelf, a little bit more defined along this edge here where our trees are going to be. So I'm just going to come along this. And so I'm going to go back to that original color we started with. And just going to kind of shape this up a bit. This is really, at this point in time, it's really more about just kind of starting to build up the visual of how things are going to work out. And so sometimes it's also just kind of killing time while things dry a bit. If you get a little too pink, I'm getting a little too pink.
What
Just
is this
soften
part
up.
on the painting you're doing?
This is the ridge.
With the trees?
Yeah, it's more than anything, it's just kind of establishing it so we kind of visually see where it's at. But I kind of want this little bit of glow from the same color that's down below a little softer, because I feel like, remember when we went for the drive the other day and we were like up on top of the ridge and looking out and it looked like we were above the ocean?
Where did you say that was?
When we were coming down here and
yeah.
we took that back road.
Yeah, that was cool.
This is kind of like, we've got the same kind of vibe where we've got this mountain ridge across the way here, and there's foggy, misty, kind of glowy, foggy, misty, glowy kind of.
How many adjectives can you have that end in E?
Shimmery.
Glowy. Sparkly glowy.
Sparkly, glowy, frosty.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of want that color to kind of be hanging out there. So it gives us extra depth of the painting, and it gives us an extra depth of field of depth. And you know, I think sometimes the reason we end up with these colors being a little bit different than the originals is because we're using completely different lights.
I'm matching your original pretty good. Just kidding.
No, you're not. You're way more vibrant.
I think you used a lot more of the yellow ochre. Did you use any yellow in there?
No. No, this will be
I think
fine.
it's all that muddy paint water you use.
It could be. Actually, more than anything, it's just lighter. But that's okay, because we'll come in and we'll brighten this up a bit, because we kind of want to have a foundation to add some snowiness to. So that'll work. I'm going to check and see. Okay, we can do the cloud part now. Should be able to. So what I'm going to do next is we're going to mix up a color for these base clouds up here. And really it's just kind of a grayish purple. So I'm going to take a little bit of red. Grab too much red. That's all right, we'll just use it. And then some blue. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow ochre to it. Just a little bit. A little bit more blue. And some white.
Almost off the screen.
Well, keep in mind that little box is not
there.
Yeah. Need a little bit more blue. There we go. And this needs to be probably lighter than you think on the palette. And I'm actually going to very carefully, I've got a lot of paint on my brush right now from mixing, so I'm going to be very careful as I do this that I'm just transferring just a little, yeah, that works. Little bit of paint at a time.
Is this the background hill that you're
No,
doing?
this is the clouds.
Oh, the clouds.
Yeah. This could be a little bluer, but actually it's fine. So I'm just going to come across, and I'm using my brush. I'm beating it up a bit. Jenny hates it when I do this, but. So I just kind of loosely kind of scribble this in. It will not seem as much. Actually, I think it's partly because the sky's brighter. Get this all the way down. On this side, it's okay if it overlaps a bit. And I'm going to have this one that really, and what I'm really focusing on doing is kind of getting the underside of this shape going across the canvas. And then just kind of.
Everybody's going to be really scared to paint this.
You're not supposed to say things like that. You plant these thoughts in their head, and then they're like, yep, Jenny said it right.
You're just going to have to go for it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
That's the you know, honestly, like this kind of thing, the main reason why people struggle with this is they think they try too hard.
Yeah.
Instead of just like being like, it's okay if this is clunky and uneven and bold. I mean, that's what makes a painting a painting.
I actually decided to not do mine diagonal.
Okay.
I hope that's okay.
Well, it kind of defeats the purpose of why I did the diagonal clouds, but you know.
Oh, what's the purpose?
To be more dramatic.
Okay. Dramatic.
That's for sure. Okay, so we're going to just let that chill out. We're going to let that dry, and we are going to go ahead and do our, I actually came down too far because we still need to do our mountains, but that's okay because we'll kind of make it all work. So for our, what I'm talking about is, I came all the way down to here and didn't need to, but.
On today's canvas?
Yeah, but we're going to fix that. It's better to go lower than you think you need to. So for the, are you about ready for that next part?
Yeah.
Okay. Next part is I'm just basically going to take the same color. I'm going to add a little bit more yellow ochre to it, a little bit more blue, a little more yellow ochre. So what happens when you mix, I'm going to add a little bit of red. When you mix red and blue, we get violet. And directly across the color wheel from violet is yellow. And so they tend to neutralize each other a bit. And so when I mix the purple and then I add the yellow ochre, which is even, you know, more of a dull color, it gives us a color that's kind of closer to black, or a grayish color. I'm going to add
Is this for the trees?
No, it's for the mountain.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just going to add, I just want to make sure that this is a little darker than our cloud base we just did. Yeah. This should be, it needs more blue. Yeah, that'll work. And for this hillside, I want to come up, you know, just about the middle of the canvas. Still too purple. That red really took over. So let's just do a little blue and yellow ochre. There we go. Just kind of brush that in on top. And this is just going to kind of meander. And I'm going to rinse my brush off. I had so much paint on my brush. Make sure it's really dry. I'm going to use a little tiny bit of white on my brush. I'm really struggling with my brush acting like it's super wet. No, it's not the brush. It might be the paper towels.
They are like one ply. Do you need more?
No, I think I got it.
Wrappy paper towels.
I swear I didn't order one ply, but that's what they sent me.
It's funny because it's like, like you have to use like twice the amount, so they're smart. They're getting you to buy more.
But it's half the price, so it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. And if you feel like you want to maybe soften it up a little bit more, you can take a little bit of white. Got red on my brush on accident. And we're just going to take a little bit of yellow ochre and just make like almost like a creamy color.
Funny, this part of your painting actually reminds me of like in like the Southwest, like Arizona.
Interesting.
Nevada. Yeah, there's something about the colors and the landscape. It's just when you add those fir trees.
Yeah. That's good enough. I feel like what I need to do is I need to pull this color, this foggy color, down a little bit further. There we go. That's good. And if at any time you feel like, hey, this brush is too big, I want to have a little bit more control, feel free to switch to a little bit smaller brush and have that control. Like Janet Jackson. And maybe we want to just kind of enhance this little darkness. You know, I'm feeling like that's maybe a little too dark. The whole thing. Easy fix. Soften it up. There we go. Just like that. Kenny Loggins, I'm getting into the danger zone now.
You're right into danger zone.
I wonder if Greta would like that movie.
Is that Over the Top?
Top Gun.
Oh yeah, that is Top Gun. He did a. Do you remember Over the Top? It's like the arm wrestling.
Take me halfway.
Yeah, that one. He did that song.
He also did the Caddyshack, and he did a lot of songs for a lot of
Is he
different.
still making music?
I don't know. He's making so many royalties off of all those movie soundtracks he did back in the day. I don't know if he
We did. Greta did watch Top Gun.
She didn't.
Mm-hmm.
When? The original one?
Yeah.
When? I don't remember that. Oh, maybe I do. He did the Playing with the Boys song from that movie too. The volleyball scene.
The thirst trap scene.
All right, so I'm going to mix up a little bit of our kind of light peach again. I'm using my number 8 brush now. And so I want to, yeah, that'll work. Just kind of come along the bottom edge of these clouds here.
Brushes again.
And I want to really kind of get it to pop on the underside of these. We might end up coming back in with some more of this color.
Remember the brush guy from college?
Yeah.
That was such a smart idea. I was thinking we should do that. Just go door to door to college art classes and be like,
Hey.
here, anybody need any brushes? Till we get kicked out.
I think he was with like some group, wasn't he? Like Daniel Smith or something like that.
Maybe. I don't even remember what he looked like or how old he was. I just remember him coming by. I don't know. Did you ever buy brushes from him?
No,
I don't think I did either. How old was he?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I might lean a little bit more on the pinkish side, or as we work our way up through these clouds, just add a little bit more pink. And keep in mind that as we move up the canvas, these clouds are going to be closer, so they're going to sit on top of the clouds that are a little bit lower. So it's good for them to cut across. I might just add a little bit.
Interesting way you're holding your brush.
I hold my brush like this a lot.
For doing clouds?
Just in general.
To keep you from
over detailing, being overly precise. And all I'm really doing is I'm just kind of sliding this color in and then just kind of blotting it out.
You know what keeps me from being over precise? Working with oils.
I was going to say alcohol.
That's a good idea too. But no, working with oils is like, I have to have a whole different level of patience that I forgot that I used to have. I think what happens as you get older, like it feels like life is moving so much faster. And I know you've told me like the science behind it, that it actually is moving faster.
Well, from not really moving faster, but from a sense of the relative amount of time of your life.
Yeah.
Each day is shorter compared to the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So
now I'm like always in a hurry. Like when I painted with oils before, we didn't have kids. And then I had little kids, and it's like you can't paint with oils and have little kids running around the house, especially ones who get into stuff like Greta did. But also, somebody's always going to need something. And so now getting back into it as an adult, Greta still needs stuff like crazy. But I am really enjoying it.
As I'm working up,
learning that.
Yeah, as I'm working up away from, like our sun's going to be right over here basically, I'm adding just a touch of blue because I want this to be less vibrantly, well, it needs to be a little bit lighter, but I want it to be less vibrantly pink.
Got a problem with pink, boy?
Nope. I actually feel like I want to throw a little bit of a bright. It's kind of the nice thing about doing this the way we do now. We can kind of improvise a little bit. Nobody's got to know about it.
I saw your pink golf shirt in the Goodwill box.
You know why that's in there?
It doesn't fit.
It's so too big on me.
That's the one that, remember, you were going through clothes and Greta and I were sitting on the bed and telling you yay, nay, yay, nay. And that one Greta said, it's giving Ken doll, but I vibe with it.
Well, that shirt used to be tight on me. Like, I remember when I wore it, I wore that one to Matt and Marissa's reception here. And it was like, look, there's every contour of Paul's upper body.
Better stop losing so much weight.
And that and the other thing is,
have to buy a whole new wardrobe.
Yeah, I've been working on it. It's okay to do that once in a while. Plus, that shirt's like,
I didn't realize how old it was. It's that old that you wore it to the wedding reception.
The other thing is styles have changed. So like sleeve length and stuff is different
But
now.
Paul, it was giving Ken doll.
That's fine.
You better find another Ken doll golfing shirt.
I've got plenty of golf shirts. I don't need more.
Ken doll.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not. That's just lifting paint. That was a bad idea.
Throw nothing here.
Well, how far in are we? How long have we been doing this?
It is 6:06.
Oh,
35 minutes?
let's see.
Is that wrong?
36 minutes.
Hey.
Good call. Yeah, that looks really vibrantly pink at the bottom compared to what it looked like. But that's okay. We're going to work on that. In fact, we're going to work on that in just a minute. I actually like having this base being a little bit warmer. So that was kind of the fun thing about this is it's like, okay, let's do a snow scene, a warm snow scene. But before we do that, I'm going to take, let's go with our number 4 brush. I don't use this guy very much. I mean, I use it a lot personally, but I don't when we teach very much.
I don't either.
And I'm just going to take some white and right about here.
I've got your little frayed
You want
brush.
to switch?
Are you using it again? Oh, I meant to put my sun lower, I think. Let's see.
Actually, really quick, before I do this sun being so circular, I'm actually going to take this little blob that I just painted on and kind of blur it out.
What are you doing?
Creating a glow.
Glowy.
Be careful if your paints are still wet. Yeah, so just kind of brighten that up a little bit, and now we can come back and do our sun.
Blend that out a little more so that white.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to come back in and, you know, bring in a little light yellow or something. Sun doesn't have to be super bright.
The original, yeah, it looks like it has like a.
Actually, put a little halo around the original.
We'll have to.
Okay. And all I did for the halo is I didn't want it to be just yellow, so I did a little bit of yellow ochre, a little bit of regular yellow. About equal parts. And I think I actually used the smallest brush to do that. It's funny, when I paint on my own, I use the smallest brush a lot, but not in the way most people do. Just going to put a little halo around this. Sun's a little bigger. And you can kind of. There you go. We can see it now.
You could put 2 suns and be on Tatooine.
You could. You do anything you want. Probably wouldn't want to put the fir trees in, but.
What planet did Anakin grow up on?
Tatooine.
Did he?
Mhm.
Oh yeah, he did.
That's why he got left with his aunt and uncle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why Luke did. So that's pretty good right now. So let's work on this down in here, start building this up. I want to start getting a little bit, that is a little, it's way too pink. Mine is. Yours is better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to...
Say that again? Let me turn my phone recording.
Like I never say that. Good Lord. Little bit of red. There we go. Like mannequin skin from the 80s. Go a little lighter yet. And I'm just going to kind of, you can leave some little bits that are a little bit on the darker side. Add a little bit more yellow. Probably. And you can kind of pull some of this color up into here again if you want to. This is making adjustments on the fly. It happens. I got a new palette for home that I'm looking forward to trying. And it's glass. And it's pretty big. It's 12 by 16. And it's that undercoat, like the underside of it's gray. So the theory on it is, and I've heard about this before, is mixing colors is easier to do on a neutral gray than it is on white, because you can have a better feeling of how it's going to look in comparison to whatever it is you're painting. So I'm looking forward to trying that. Now the benefit of glass is when you get done, you can let your paint dry and you can just scrape it off with a razor blade. And yeah, that's better. That's better. And it's really a nice thing. I remember I saw an artist on, I don't know, YouTube or something like that, and maybe it wasn't YouTube, I don't remember. But she had gone to like a garage sale and found like a fairly good sized plant stand that was a glass top, and I think it was like an 18-inch round or something, and she just used it as both her, must have been bigger than 18, maybe 24 inches or something, but she just used it as both her table to put her brushes and jar and glass on, but also just mix her paint right on it and just had that right next to her easel. And I thought, well, that's really smart. It's recycling, upcycling, and does good things. So, all right. So, next challenge for us is we're going to go ahead and we're going to start laying out our trees. And now, this is still kind of wet, so we got to be a little bit careful. It shouldn't be too wet, but the only thing we have to be careful about is that we don't push down on the brush too hard while we do this, because if we do, what'll happen is it'll lift the paint, and so we don't want that to happen. So I'm going to mix up a little red, little blue, kind of a dark purplish color. But it's definitely leaning red. Probably mix up a little bit more than you think you need, because we're going to go all the way across, creating this ridge. A bit more blue. This blue is really weird tonight to me. I don't know, just not seeing it right.
Brush is weird.
Something, all kinds of stuff. Something's going on.
Blue seems fine.
Okay. So.
But maybe I put it on your palette first, and so you have like where the first bit.
Yeah, it could be. So I'm just going to start here, and maybe I should, let me zoom in. think that plug it in is probably Glade plugins.
I'm sure it is.
So what I want to do with this is I want to make sure that I'm coming down at least to this like line that we've got here. But for each tree, I don't want to like be like I'm painting. I actually don't want to paint branches on any of these trees that are back here. So we're just going to use our brush to just really kind of bounce and almost scribble, but not quite scribble. We used to do scribbly trees a lot, and we still do sometimes, but I've found that this technique is a little bit more refined, but it would be really impossible to teach without being able to zoom in.
When you say bounce, are you meaning your brush, or are you meaning bounce around where you're painting on the canvas?
No, the brush.
Okay.
So it's just kind of like a dab and pull. So I'm not, we used to scribble and just go up and down, and now it's just pulling down. And so I feel like the brush is bouncing. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this bottom edge here and kind of just wipe my brush off a little bit and just kind of smudge it out every so often before it dries. And as I work my way towards the left, and then we'll do the same thing going towards the right, and then we'll do the same thing as we move towards the left, we'll gradually bring these up a little bit taller. You can kind of, I think what that does visually for me is it helps to frame in the middle of the canvas. It pulls the eye towards the middle rather than letting it slide off the side. I pretty much like to get to the point where as I get closer to the edge, maybe 6 feet from the edge, and I'm thinking, I like to get at least a couple, like 1 or 2 of the tips of the trees above the ridge line in the back. You don't have to, but what it does to me visually is it helps establish a field of depth. It's so that you know this is in front. That's the song I was playing on guitar when you guys got home, by the way.
That's funny.
Like Creed's got like making a full-on comeback. I don't know what's up. I don't know.
A lot of people aren't.
Oh, I know.
Like,
I get it.
into it.
I get it. But so Thomas, my young friend who works with me, he's in the play in Hamlet.
Oh,
with
yeah,
me.
yeah.
He just got his dad tickets to go see Creed.
Oh.
His dad's just a little bit younger. His dad's 38.
Just a little bit younger than us.
Yeah, well, it's his adopted dad.
Yeah.
Good kid. I love that kid.
He is a good kid. Who does he play?
He has a couple of different roles. He plays Rosencrantz, though.
Oh, so he's BFFs with Nathan's character.
Nathan doesn't play Guildenstern.
I thought he said he did.
No, Candy plays
Okay.
Guildenstern. He was standing in for it the other day.
Oh, got it.
So don't worry about this like kind of blend in being perfect at this point. This is going to be the little bit of a time-consuming part of this painting, and that's okay. And that's like, to me, like this whole process is supposed to be something that's therapeutic and relaxing, right? And so like these little tasks like this that take time, but there's not a lot of like crazy technique going on. They're therapeutic and relaxing. What it is. You know, Jenny, I had a thought. There is, you know how we like to paint with music?
Mhm.
We could always put together a royalty-free playlist from my account. And maybe it's not the best music in the world, but it's better than no music. Am I right?
We could just sing, like
Hold me now.
create, yeah.
I'm 6 hairs from the edge.
Of this brush.
Oh, everybody's leaving. No, I'm just kidding. I guess that Scott Stapp's, he was the singer of Creed. His bandmates didn't particularly care for him.
Yep. A lot of people didn't care for him. Like a narcissist. According to reports.
Well, from what I understand, this was something he said. He said that his bandmates thought that he wrote too spiritual of lyrics, and it kind of defeated the purpose of sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Ah.
Like they're like, you're cramping our pick up on chicks style, man.
We aren't gonna get any groupies.
Do you remember? There was all that like, they're a Christian, and then they were like, no, we're not.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And it's like, oh no, bro, you are, and that's fine. Your music's good. Don't.
Did you ever buy one of their CDs?
I got them all.
Did you give them to Greta?
Yeah.
Did Greta want them?
I think she did.
Greta was super excited when I found our old Sublime CD.
Oh, that was a good
day
CD.
before yesterday. I was like, look what I found.
I didn't know they were into Sublime. They might be.
Because, you know, they're antiques now. Like the time I feel cool for my child. Ooh, I've got CDs. But I wish I had tape still. And I know I had all of them like at my parents' house. I think they must have gotten sold at a garage.
Hey, I found your U2 Rattle and Hum CD out in the garage.
Oh, okay. So we found the case for it yesterday.
Oh, not the case. Not CD.
DVD.
No, cassette.
No way. You gotta give that to Greta.
I don't know if there's a way to listen to it.
There isn't.
You know what though? The thing is like, who really wants to listen to a cassette?
Yeah.
They lack the warm, nostalgic, analog feel of a album, of a vinyl, and they lack the crisp precision of DVD or streaming. I thought it was funny because Greta was saying something about if they were to inherit my truck, they want me to put a CD player back in. Like, why don't you just plug your phone in and listen to Spotify? Come on. Why are you going to be so old school? So this is a process, like I said, it's a little bit tedious. The only reason, like, the other thing is yeah, I know we're going to be doing the big shadows from these trees, so maybe make sure, yeah, they don't have to be super huge, the trees, but so this bottom fade-in part is more of a way of heading off, like, unusual lines than it is anything. So I always try to think of like, well, what's going to show through, and if we don't want this, like if there's a hard line there, we don't really want that showing through. So that's why we do that. I think I just said that, but I just wanted to reiterate. This is kind of a process that's kind of hard to keep talking through. You know, I was thinking, do you ever have to use eye drops because your eyes are dry?
I used to.
Is it possible to actually put eye drops in without your mouth hanging wide open?
Or is it possible to put your contact lenses in without your mouth hanging wide open?
It's the same thing.
It's funny, I've thought of it when I'm putting my contact lenses in, and I've purposely thought, close your mouth. And so I close my mouth, because really having your mouth open doesn't really stretch your eyelids down.
No, but I mean, I just have been doing the eye drops here at work, and because my eye doctor told me I need to. And I was just like noticing one day my mouth is always like wide open.
Ah. And it doesn't do anything. It's just a natural phenomena.
Something like a phenomenon. So I've been trying to train myself not to do that because I do get like bugs and stuff in here.
You don't want any to go in your mouth?
No.
Yeah, you know, warehouses, they just, like, bugs find their ways in because you don't really have a lot of good insulation and stuff.
You know what? You know what else gets into warehouses a lot?
Birds?
Tree frogs.
Oh, really?
They're always tree frogs. I think they, you know, because I think they pick up on the warmth and just kind of make their way underneath doors and stuff. All right, so that's good. So let's go ahead and start working on these shadows. Now, I don't want to use the same color. I want this to be a little bit of a cooler color. So I'm going to add a little bit more blue.
And why do you want it to be a cooler color?
I want it to be a different color than, because it's not.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you have a different color on your.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's not going to be the same color. And since it's on snow, it's going to be.
You put white in there too?
Yeah, I'm adding just a little bit more blue. I want it to be a little cooler, so that's why I add the little bit of blue. I'm going to add a little bit of white. We can, because it's casting the shadows on the snow. We don't necessarily need it to be like
the exact color, because green trees don't cast green shadows.
Right, exactly.
In the summer, they kind of do.
No.
When it filters through the trees.
No, maybe, yeah. All right, so we're going to test this. So here's the trick. I'm going to use my brush a lot, and I'm going to kind of be like, okay, the sun is shining. I kind of go for where the base of each tree is, so the sun's shining to this tree at that angle, so then this is going to go like that. Now, where it gets a little bit tricky is, and do the same thing, we're going to kind of just do some references. So this one kind of goes at an angle like so. And it really gets to the point where it's going really to the side.
Yeah, if you have a ruler, you can totally do this pretty easy.
Yeah.
Kind of like when we draw the vineyards.
Yep.
The further you get away, the more they're going to outwardly stretch.
And what I'll do is I'll do a few of them to start with. And I feel that that's maybe a little dark. So let's maybe add a little bit more white. And it's okay if you have to go back over them. There we go.
What did you see that inspired you?
Oh, it was actually, you know what's funny? It was actually that the paintings we saw at the coffee shop.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. Cool.
Like I was like, I really liked how that person did the big shadows, and I didn't want to copy their painting, you know, especially as a local small, you know, artist trying to do their thing, so I didn't want to copy them. So I looked up some other photo references of, you know, long shadows, and so we ended up with this. Muddle this in a bit. And I'm just gonna kind of like, again, we're gonna do the same thing. Let's go this way. And some of these are gonna get covered up by the bigger trees. Obviously straight down is straight down. And you could do this for every single tree if you wanted to. There's absolutely, like, this is one, like, usually I'm like, I'm the person that's like, you don't need to do that. I'm giving you permission this time. But it's really making sure that those all go away from the sun is what makes this work. And I think that's like something we don't really get too involved in often is not, we kind of gloss over shadows a lot, I think.
Yeah, because otherwise you go over your time frame way too much. Guess you're gonna have to do art of seeing shadows.
I mean, shadows are easy, really. It's just the main thing is I think people tend to do them too dark, for one, or they just use black. And I always kind of think, I can't remember, somebody said that purple is the color of shadows. It was like some older painter. Paint's drying. Aruba, Jamaica, ooh, I wanna take it.
What put that song in your head?
The Kahlua.
Oh.
No, I know. But I was just thinking like Kahlua, you could totally put it in there. There is our second Tom Cruise movie reference for the night.
What in the world? You're thinking Tom Cruise thoughts tonight, aren't you?
Kind of a risky business when you go down that road.
Dad joke king.
Boom. I like that guy called me out on that last night.
Oh, did he say you did a dad joke?
He goes, dad joke, ba-dum-bum.
Why can't I remember what your joke was?
It was, what was it? Oh, she was talking, his daughter was talking about En Vogue. And
yeah.
like trying to figure out En Vogue. I'm like, I guess you're just never going to get it.
No, you're never gonna get it.
Not this time.
Never ever gonna
My love.
get it. No. He was saying they're all still really buff, like they're in their 60s. Queens.
If Michonne for Walking Dead were in a band, she would be in En Vogue. buff. Our child has been binge walking Walking Dead.
Binge walking.
Binge watching. I'm actually gonna make these couple of these a little longer.
Yeah, Greta was really into like all the Hallmark Christmas movies, and all of a sudden is like, I think I'm gonna binge watch The Walking Dead.
And now
Okay.
complaining because we haven't been watching the Christmas movies. Hey, come on.
Well, complaining because we haven't been home at night. Paul and I have had a really busy schedule this week with 2 meetings, rehearsal for Paul, and then we taught a live class last night, and then live streaming tonight. And Greta's like, "We're never gonna watch a Christmas movie."
Yeah, that just reminded me I have rehearsal tomorrow too.
Oh wait.
Oh wait, maybe we don't.
You'll have to ask August, because tomorrow we're supposed to go to the train station.
Well, I'll look at our schedule.
I mean, the train museum. Our boy.
Feel free to stretch these out as far as you want. I kind of feel like mine's about right. I've been growing my beard out for the play, and whiskers around my nose are bothering me.
Did we mention that you're Polonius in Hamlet?
Mm-hmm.
I think we did, yeah. So he's an old man that gets stabbed.
Well, actually, technically, like, by old man,
He's probably like
he's probably like
48.
our age. Because, you know, like, so that's kind of funny because, like, I was watching the old Hamlet with
The
Mel
Mel
Gibson
Gibson
one, and I was like, Hamlet's supposed to be like early 20s, late teens.
Mel Gibson's like, I'm 45, I'm gonna play it. No, I don't know how old he was then. He was not in his 20s though.
No, he was late 30s at the youngest. Glenn Close was playing Queen Gertrude, and like, and then so then like all the like Polonius was Ian Holm. Bilbo.
Yeah.
And but he was like, oh, he's probably about 55 then. I don't know. That was 20 years ago, 30 years ago when that came out.
It came out when I think we were sophomores in high school.
Something like that. It was 1990.
Oh, we were younger than
Freshman. Well, could have been. Depends on what time of year it came out.
You're right.
All right, so I'm going to cheat and use a little bit of black.
Oh, I didn't even put it on the palette. I guess I'll go get it.
Oh, wait, we don't need to. No, that's okay. We don't need to. So I'm going to use, we're now going to do our it's like clockwork. Painting is more bright in color, the new one.
I'm going to have to start, like, flicking your ear. Be like, you're doing it again.
Yeah, I kind of like it, though.
It's like someone put an Instagram filter on your painting.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
That is so funny that you do that, though. I've done it before, too.
We all do it.
But it's like, for you, it's...
I think it's the light.
I think it's the light, and I think it's also that you're doing a landscape, and mine aren't always landscape. I don't know.
I think it's the lighting, because, like, I usually...
It's the brush, Paul.
Like, our lighting setup, like, when we're teaching, is pretty... It's actually dimmer than you think it is. But, okay, so I'm going to mix together, I'm going to use my number 8, and I'm going to basically mix a similar color to what we just did. Actually, let's take that back. I'm going to mix together, scroll that over here. Blue, red, and yellow ochre.
How much of each?
About equal parts, actually.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit more of the blue and yellow ochre. The red seems to kind of dominate, I feel like. And so I'm going to start out. My advice on doing like foreground trees is always this. Do one, see if you enjoy the process. If you love it, do a couple more. If you hate it, just stay at one. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with this one over here. And let's zoom in.
Oh, is this where you're mixing a really dark color because you were gonna use black?
Yeah.
Got it. About right.
You'll find out when you put it on the canvas.
Okay.
And I always just kind of like to start with just the top of the tree. And then from there, now, these are snowy trees, so they're going to droop.
Yeah, have you ever seen the pictures of like Lapland? Where the trees are so droopy from the heavy weight of the snow.
Yeah, it's on the canvas. I mean, it's on the camera. Good. I don't like to do the trunk first because it kind of, then I kind of tend to like find that people tend to fixate on the trunk and trying to get it to like line up on the trunk, and I'm kind of like, yeah, it's more about the general overall shape that's more important. So you can see a little bit of the trees shining through. That's okay because we're actually going to put a little bit of snow on these foreground ones. So sorry about the noise. The neighbor's leaving. We'll probably hear his alarm and then the door going.
I don't think it goes through the.
It might not, but you might. So there's that one. I'm going to bring that down just maybe just a hair farther. Yeah, just about like that. Now, let's zoom back out. Do another one. One thing you'll find is when you start doing trees or just anything really when you're painting, you'll find that one side of the canvas is easier than the other side, and it's not always the same. Like it might be the left side is easier for some people, the right side, and it kind of depends on what you're painting. And if you look at my hand, like if I'm painting over here, my wrist is like this, but if I have to move over here, my wrist is like this unless I really put my arm out to the side or you move your canvas. Either way, it is always kind of a little bit more difficult one side or the other. I'm going to go ahead. I want this one to be a little taller.
Are you doing the one that's in the far corner or
Yeah.
the far left
No, I'm
tree?
doing the taller one of the
Okay.
two. Yeah.
Where's your fan brush, Paul?
Actually, I've never been like personally a fan of using fan brushes for doing trees. Like, have I done it before? Sure. But then you know what it looks like? It looks like you just dabbed a fan brush on the canvas a bunch. You know what fan brushes are actually intended for?
Is it for like, well, I always thought like they work really great for when you're drawing, like to whisk the eraser or pencil shavings, lead stuff out of the way. That's what
You're
Greta
close.
uses it for.
You're close.
Okay, but is it something with paint?
Yeah.
Hey, what is it?
They're a blender. They're for doing soft blending. Is what their initial purpose. But again, you know, like with art, it doesn't matter what it's designed for. It's
You can use it for whatever you want.
yeah, what can you make it do? Now this one's going to come down a little lower. So it's a little taller than this other one, and it's going to come down a little lower. And I'm running out of paint. Now, if you feel like, oh, this is like yours feels like it's not dark enough, there's two things. You could add a little bit of black if you wanted to. That's fine. But the other thing to keep in mind is like you're really just kind of painting the shadows of this tree. I'm going to refrain from doing my shadow song. And when we put the snow on top of it, it's going to actually look darker. It's also going to help it stand out against the background. Kind of keep coming down. I think that's about good. There. Rinse my brush off because it's drying out. Mix up a little bit more, and I'm just going to do one more small, just kind of the top of the tree. It's going to kind of blend out off the canvas and then into this bigger tree. Every time it's like, I feel like I need to, my canvas is trying to do a kickflip.
Cool.
Radical. Okay. So, where did my camera go? It is charging.
On dark for a minute.
I know how to fix this, guys. Know how to fix this.
Famous last words. It's gonna paint the canvas black now. See everything. So what is going on with the camera that makes it turn?
So it's cheap chargers.
Oh. Spend a little more on your charger.
Well, yeah, it's that plug-in thing I bought sucks.
Is it this bar across here?
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you looking for? Are you looking for a...
Well, I am going to
finish your painting with the front camera?
No, I'm not. I'm actually going to steal the charger from the front camera.
Okay.
Because it should be fully charged. See, this is what I'm talking about. So I moved the plug and it turned that light off. That's the wrong thing. And in it, I'll figure it out.
Keep painting your trees. Now you have lots of time to perfect your trees.
Yeah.
Hopefully not a lot of time. I don't know how long is this gonna take you to figure out.
Don't ask me that question.
You can always finish it with the front camera.
Not really.
You have in the car.
Just give me a minute.
Palette Knives is getting a Christmas present.
I mean, the fact that if you plug one thing in and the other thing turns off should be a pretty good indication that there's an issue. Now I'm trying to make sure I've got. Ah, whoa, I'm tripping. Make sure there's not a cable hanging in front. There we go. Now I gotta zoom back in.
Now you're out of breath.
Crisis averted. I told you. Just gotta give me time. All right, so now we got to do. We really only we're almost done. Like we only just got a couple things left to do, and all we really have to do is we're gonna do the shadows on the trees, and then we're gonna do the snow on them, and maybe put some little shimmery highlights, and then we'll be done. And we're really only an hour and 20 minutes in on this thing, so we're doing pretty good.
An hour and 20 minutes, and we did clouds and trees.
Yeah. Of course, we're kind of going at our own pace too. So, so I'm gonna mix up basically the same color we used for our shadows before, because it would still be the same color of shadows. Shadow's not going to change color just because it's a tree that's closer.
Oh, remind me what the colors were.
Just that lavender. That color.
Okay.
A little bit more blue. There we go. And again, I'm going to look at the trees going this way. And then these trees are going this way. You could take a little bit of this color and just add some little texture in here if you want to. Maybe a little dark, but oh well. Now you can use the same color now. And let me zoom in. Whop. Gotta make the sound effects. Jenny, you're pushing your palette, getting over close and invading my territory. You can take the same shadow color and kind of start dabbing in. Again, this is shadow on snow. This color is going to be present in these trees. That one. I'll zoom in really close so you guys can see. Kind of dabbed that in. I'm going to zoom back out because I'm going to do the same thing on the other trees. It's harder for me to zoom in because I don't have enough room that way to slide my canvas so it's centered.
You don't have enough zoom room?
Zoom room.
Boomerang. Boomerang.
All right, Lady Elaine. That's right, I had to think for a second. Back one doesn't need a lot of that detail, but the front one in front kind of lays over it. Now I'm going to go ahead and, since we're working on this part, I'm just going to go ahead and take a little bit more white and add it to the same shadow color. So we just get a little bit lighter of a lavender. And like this tree is going to get some of this. Not going to go all the way across. It's just going to kind of more on this left side. Yeah. Might get a little bit on the very edge of the other side. You could even use your smallest brush add some little bits on there. This same thing on this tree, it's going to be coming from this side. This one's going to be getting a little bit right back here. Snow is one of those funny things. It's like when we paint it, we have a tendency to want to be like, snow is white, and paint it.
Water is blue.
And water is, yeah, I was going to say, it kind of goes into that same territory of water is blue. And it's like, well, water's not actually blue usually. There are some circumstances.
Water is whatever color the sky is or the objects surrounding the water.
Right. I mean, there you do get some situations where maybe there's like some kind of weird algae in it or something and you get blue water. But, and snow, yes, a lot of time. It's still doing its thing. It probably just didn't have enough time to charge. Come back. The battery is exhausted. So that, my fix didn't work. All right, so let's see, what do we do here? Okay, I got it. On the fly, we're gonna fix this again. Different way. You just aren't gonna get to see our beautiful Jenny at the end of our painting.
I'm cut out.
Nor we have to see my furry face.
Oh, are you trading cameras?
I'm gonna trade cameras. Okay, before our next live stream, I promise we're getting new chargers.
I will hold you to that. You know what I think needs to be brought back? Old school door-to-door Christmas caroling.
Yeah, but didn't you say like 80s music?
No, I said for our birthdays we need to do 80s music caroling in February. Right out in front of the bar. That would be funny. Go home!
Why won't
Although
you just go
most
home?
of our friends are in theater now, so they're all like amazing singers. So we'll just be like harmonizing. Put a tip hat out there.
Almost back, guys. Almost there. We're 6 feet from the edge.
6 feet from the core. Hey. Quality, but it's okay. Oh, we lost someone.
No, we didn't. Okay, so. All right, so. What?
Nothing. I'm just moving this cord.
Okay. So we're good now because this one is actually fully charged, so we don't have to worry about it cutting out. So now we can switch now to a smallest brush. We can use just a little bit of pure white. We're going to break all the rules and use pure white. And I'm just going to put like a little tuft.
Yeah, we were laughing about the pure white thing because Paul and I, right before we started this live stream, I saw showing Paul an Instagram reel that said, I broke the rules and used pure white on my painting. And it was like up close of them something and adding highlights. And it's like, I use white all the time.
Well, the thing is like, I would say like in general.
I'm breaking the rules. Just call me an anarchist.
Like in general, reserving pure white just to be like a bright light source is probably a good idea. Like I'm putting this little bit of pure white on this and it feels too white, but I'm just gonna live with it. But like when you're doing a sun, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
The sun is literally white light, so you know you got to use something. But that's actually something that I feel like is people do tend to use white too much, and it really should just be a shimmer or just a little bit.
An ultra highlight.
Yeah. And that's kind of where we were going. I was kind of getting into when I was talking about the snow. Now, a lot of times I would not use necessarily purple, but light blues or things like that to, those highlights are so bright.
Well, the sun is really bright. It's white. You can see it.
Yeah. If you get too bright, you know what? Just you can tone it down a bit. A little bit of lavender right on top. You don't want to do too much. If you do too much, then you lose your
Mid-tone highlights.
well, no, I was going to say you lose your shape. It becomes very flat. And I am going to now take my brush and a little bit of white, since we are using white. Kind of using the side of the brush and just add some shimmer.
Shimmer down now.
Totally. The reason I like to use the smaller brush and like use the side of the brush is it kind of works almost kind of like the old palette knife techniques of kind of breaking up a bit. Well, maybe next month we'll be in our new streaming location. I'm feeling ambitious, but I got a lot of stuff coming up in the next month, so it might not be yet.
Yeah, you've got Hamlet rehearsing to do and painting to do.
Yeah.
That's your work. Can't forget about that.
Plus life as a whole. Okay, so I'm gonna call mine done. You're done.
Painting done. I'm almost done.
Okay, I'm gonna sign it. I'm just gonna use white. I like to kind of blend it in. I'm gonna put it right here. My stomach just went. Brrr. Means it's hungry.
I heard it.
Well, I thought it was loud enough that everybody might have heard it, so I was like, I might as well just point it out.
Well, okay, so my lower area needed to dry before I added the white to it, but I'm going to sign it anyway because I'm not going to hold up the whole stream. Just for that.
Nope. Just checking to make sure I didn't miss anything important.
Well,
But
my
zoom in on
lower-
our regular camera works pretty good.
My lower area is kind of muddy,
All right.
but I don't have.
Yeah, yeah. Let me turn this light off. Let's see Jenny's. Oh, they look a lot alike.
They do. So I didn't do the angled clouds, but I feel like the sky's still fairly dramatic.
Yeah.
Probably not as dramatic as yours, but yours is.
Mine looks
this
kind of
has a lot
squiddish.
Dark. Yours looks like a storm is brewing. But yeah, you can see down here where I had some wet paint on there because I was adding some texture and trying out different colors. And then it was like, hey, we're adding white, and then I'm signing it. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, I see. So I think they both turned out good. I think the cool thing about this painting, and it's like even in the original, you know, the colors are a lot softer in the original, but I kind of like, that's okay, that works. But the bolder colors work good too. But this painting's so just, it's all about these shadows, really. Whatever else is going on in the background is kind of just there, but the shadows are really
Thanks, Marlene.
the kicker.
Yeah, that was funny. I like that one. I like the long, overly stretched shadows. In fact, looking at yours, I see I could have done mine more stretched. I actually like on yours how you have a more of a bumpy horizon rather than mine's more straight across.
Mhm.
So that gives you.
Because you went straight across with your clouds, you went straight across with your horizon. Yeah.
Well.
So anyway, so
That's a good mouth with teeth.
I actually thought that was a lot of fun to teach. I mean, there's so many different ways you could do this painting. You could do this painting without it being so warm of a glow.
Mm-hmm.
And you could do it, you know, more pale blue or pale lavender with the deep shadows instead, and that would look really amazing as well. But you know, I don't know. It's just we always do cold paintings in the wintertime, so I thought this was kind of a fun
Last year you
shake-up.
did soft winter. It was soft winter sky.
Was it?
Yeah, soft winter sky, and it was actually a similar thing. You had a lot of lavenders, and then the next month in January you did winter shimmer,
Okay.
and then crocus pocus.
Crocus pocus. Let me look and see. I'm gonna go back and look at our.
Don't remember soft winter sky. Actually, you're teaching it next month live at the Center for the Arts. I signed it for you. I think I messaged you and said, "Hey, is this one okay for teaching live?"
Winter shimmer.
Winter shimmer was I think winter shimmer was January or was it December? Oh yeah, and I did the cardinal.
That was January.
I mean the blue jay.
Oh, we maybe had. There was a gap where I think they were on the other channel.
Oh. Okay, we're gonna pack it up.
Pack it up, pack it in. Let us begin.
You guys have amazing holidays, Christmas, New Year's, whatever you celebrate. It all just kind of whooshes through so fast, so make sure you take some time to sit back and enjoy it, do some painting, take some me time.
Don't do what we do.
Yeah, don't like cram everything in your schedule all at once like we do.
Yeah.
But actually our schedule, now that we're not doing so much live teaching, like in-person teaching, it's calmed down a lot compared to what it was like 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, outside of this, after this weekend, things are quite a bit calmer, except
Other
for
than Hamlet,
well, I mean, other than Christmas, but like we don't have a lot of painting classes and stuff coming up. So
that's what you think. I'm just kidding.
I know. Every time I think we're gonna relax, all of a sudden Jenny's like, "Oh, I
No.
forgot I scheduled all these painting classes, and they're back to back to back to back."
We have one per month.
We have had something every single evening this week except for Monday.
Funny. Yeah, we have. You're right.
And we do tomorrow.
Merry Christmas, Marlene.
Happy
Hope you
Christmas,
have
everybody.
A great time with lots of good food.
Yes.
Good treats, good food, all that stuff.
Speaking
family
of food.
time if you hang out with family.
Speaking of food.
Let's do it. Okay, we're going to exit this live stream and see you guys in the next
We're
year.
going to go bye.
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 See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.